forming our team.
As soon as we can get an application and figure out a background check. Yeah.
And what's
All's great.
I'm sorry. Don't run a background check on me.
Oh, no.
I heard your background, okay. No. Oh, my goodness. Okay. 1 minute. Sure.
That made him nervous.
I'm shutting them out.
Any more questions?
No more questions.
You do the low one?
Oh, yeah, we can move.
No, I don't move around.
Oh,
That's the low one.
Well, I do great sound.
Yeah, do you sit, you want to feel like a little kid.
I know, that was the.
I'm sure it is her. So I'll elaborate walks.
Pillow, you're right.
No, but then your knees can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's one height that works class A.
That's okay.
Recording in progress.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Rio Dell City Council. We have nothing to report out of closed session. Roll call, please.
Mayor Garnes,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter.
Here.
Councilmember Orr,
Here.
Councilmember Wilson,
Here.
Councilmember Woodall. Here.
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not allowed under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Items requiring council actions not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Any emails, Karen?
No.
And I will close public comment and move to the consent calendar. Is there any item that council would like to remove from the consent calendar? Anyone?
No.
Anyone like to remove anything from the consent calendar? Any? Okay, then is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Staff reports and communications, page 32 in our packets. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes and members of the council. So the United States Department of Agriculture has released its one-page information sheet that includes grant and loan opportunities for the victims of the 2022 tornado earthquake, which of course mostly impacted residents of Rio Dell. I neglected to attach it to your packet for this evening, but there should be a little handout for each of the council members for you to look at. This will be going out in our next newsletter, and then also County Emergency Services will also be distributing this flyer. And also the disaster case managers have also been informed of this flyer. So this is an important new piece of the disaster recovery framework.
City manager, just on this, I also gave it to Sarah Reback at the Community Resources Center and asked her to disperse it out to the community members.
Great. So it includes both grant and loans. My understanding is that some of the issues that people were facing in terms of not being able to retroactively access funds for projects already completed. That may, on a case-by-case basis, also be eligible for this funding, as well as potentially concrete perimeter foundation work and whatnot, that a lot of people are running into problems with in terms of accessing the earthquake brace and bolt program. And again, these are funds that are accessible not just to residents of Rio Dell, but the earthquake did impact folks up and down the Eel River Valley.
No, just to add on to that, sorry, but think of it. It is, you can have the work done already. It will reimburse you. It isn't, a lot of the things you have to have there, you go ahead before you actually do the work. And this one, your work can be completed as long as you have receipts and food. And they will, if you are awarded the grant, you can still be awarded the grant if you're eligible.
And then staff has also been working with GHD to collate a list of project study reports for future road projects, including Second Avenue, Oval Avenue, and whatnot, that hopefully would speed up the process of grant applications down the road for various funding sources, primarily through HPOG, but potentially through others. So that's exciting news. And an item will be eventually coming to the council for approval of the budget amendment to move that work forward. Also not written on your staff report, but important to note, the Nuisance Advisory Committee on the 15th will be considering and reviewing a rental housing inspection ordinance. So the Nuisance Advisory Committee has been working over the past few months on a rental housing inspection proposal, an ordinance language. That material has gone to the city attorney for a cursory review. And then it will also it's also scheduled to go to the Planning Commission on the 28th of this month. So depending on the outcome of these interactions with the committees and the commission, we expect to have a informational presentation for the council on December 5th of this year, and then potentially draft ordinance language for the council to consider adopting sometime in January of this year. So that's something just to keep on the radar as we move forward. Other than that, I'm happy to try to answer any questions that the council may have of myself or staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem.
No questions. I do always miss our police department report though. You got anything good for us?
Well, my apologies, because I forgot to hit the send button. I have it right here. We've been extremely busy,
Yeah.
a lot of times, in the last couple of weeks. And so someone was still in the investigation phase of those, but we're pretty busy last week.
I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm also glad that we have good police officers.
Yes.
Thank you. It's okay that you didn't hit send. I'll forgive you.
Appreciate it.
That's it for now, for me.
Just on the one of the things you're doing for the ordinance for rentals. Are you gonna go and explain how that works, when you present that on the Fed?
Yeah, so we'll try to give a rounded, full informational presentation on the 5th to the council, just informational, and then get the ability to get feedback from the council on that before the final first reading would be submitted, pending the recommendation of the Nuisance Advisory Committee and the Planning Commission on this.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, could you maybe make a copy and put them in our boxes?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. And then that's all. Are there any questions from the public? Any emails? No? Okay. Thank you, city staff, all of you. Outstanding job, and we appreciate you all very much. Authorize, special call items. Number one, authorize staff to rebid the Gateway project, page 37 in our packets. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes, members of the council. So I just want to make sure this is a discussion item to allow the opportunity for council members to provide input if there is any. In our discussions with the staff at the Clean California grant program, they had some concerns with the bid numbers submitted. They're not, they were a little high in certain categories. So, but they thought it would be advisable to go ahead and rebid the project. To see, again, if we could maybe make some minor modifications to the bidding documents to get more contractors bidding on the project. As you may recall, we ended up with only one bid in that process, at the end of that process. So just other updates on that is that, and I would just add to that, we are looking at the timeline and working with Clean California in terms of, adjusting timelines. And I think this, potentially helps build a case with the state as to future timeline adjustments or potentially scope adjustments. So, but in terms of some of the other items on towards the bottom of page 37, we did receive a $5,000 grant from Pacific Gas and Electric towards the project. And then unfortunately, we did not receive the grant from Coast Central Credit Union. We appreciate the opportunity from them to submit the grant. And I know that they looked at it very seriously, but there's obviously what they reported back is record requests for charitable donations totaling over $1.5 million for a pool of, I want to say it's about $150,000 to $200,000 that they have. So obviously the requests far outstrip their programmatic funding. So with that, the bid would largely remain the same, just some minor modifications to the due dates for certain requirements in the bid package.
Thank you. Okay. No question.
No, but I hope invest on that one.
Councilmember Moore, Councilmember Wilson.
Do we, is there a deadline on this?
For this specific one, the project has to be delivered by June 30th of 2024.
Really?
It's possible to get an extension, so we'll see, but that's why we're working so closely with Clean California and taking their advice and direction in terms of how to move the project forward.
They didn't have any feedback on saying what inflation has done to this type of stuff with labor and fuel and.
Yeah, I don't think our bid was that off from what their estimates were, but certainly there are some minor changes that I think could encourage others to bid on the project, namely the timeline for project delivery. We kind of yoked that time back quite a bit. In the bid package, and so we have more time to afford the contractors to do the work.
But our total amount of money includes the exercise stations as well.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And just so everyone knows and doesn't want to feel bad about Coast Central, they did award a grant the fire district for playground equipment, so. So they did actually give money to the city of Rio Dell to help us with something, you know, so we appreciate that. Absolutely. Okay, are there any questions from the public? Any? As there, I'm sorry. Is there a motion to authorize staff to rebid the project?
I so moved.
Have a motion, second? Motion carries 5-0. And we come to our final discussion and possible action on the dog park. Or I'm looking for my actual official sentence, authorize staff to issue an amended bid related to the Rio Dell dog park, page 38 in our package.
Thank you, Mayor Barnes. So this is another project where we have a kind of very specific scope of or available dollars to deliver the project. It's a little shy of $200,000 to deliver the project. And we, at this point, based on the original bid results that came back, somewhere in the neighborhood of $700,000, we worked with the ad hoc committee to strip back the project, which was both a dog park and a half basketball court. Even stripping everything away from the project and just focusing on the bare bones, the end result with the contractor's bids was about $400,000 to accomplish both. So we basically have only enough money to accomplish half of what we were hoping we would be able to do. Given the earthquake and the financial situation being slightly murky as a result of that event and our pullout of that event, staff is recommending that we focus these dollars basically on the dog park component while still leaving space available for future implementation of the half court at the site. So basically it would be the dog park components, fencing, walkways, parking, kind of a more of a phased implementation of the total project. And then depending on future grant possibilities or the city's financial position as it becomes clearer, we might be able to implement the half court. So it's disappointing, but at this point, we have a number of projects in the queue that we're probably going to encounter some similar turbulence in terms of just the costs far exceeding the original engineer's estimate and what we were hoping to deliver. And in this particular case, I still think we can pull off a decent project, but just not exactly what we were kind of hoping to do. So that's just the basics of it. Essentially, we're taking kind of a Cadillac version of what we had hoped for and really stripping off all the extras and really just focusing on that dog park, which again would be a great point for us to be able to distribute animal control information, help organize pet owners in the community, and whatnot. So I don't have much more to add to that unless Kevin online has something to add, but happy to answer any questions of the council.
Thank you, City Manager. Councilman Wilson?
Well, I like what you're wanting to do, it's just, I always thought it was in the dog park to begin with. Yeah, there's no way that you can, I guess you're gonna figure out, I just put up fences, have a dog. And there's no way the city can do parts of this in pieces.
Yeah, so
I mean, starting with the gravel parking lot, instead of the paved parking lot or.
yeah, I think part of this particular bid package we'll have more of an ability to kind of pick and choose the items that the contractor bids on. So the parking lot and portion of it is something that would be additive, so we could take that portion out, but there will have to be some level of cement work. And so, like, if you have all that equipment mobilized to come out and do ADA and that sort of thing, it kind of makes sense to expand that while you have the crew out there. But we'll have to look at the what the bids come back in terms of exactly what the final scope of what we can pull off there would be. But already, you know, staff is going to be doing the water connection. We think we can do that for just through forced account and other items that we may identify in the future.
Thank you.
No questions.
I have no questions. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah. Then, is there a motion to authorize the city manager to amend the bid?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0.
And then, Mayor Garnes, for the council reports, you might want to bring up the subject of our council meeting on the.
Yeah,
21st.
I have it. Yeah, I have it written down. Thank you.
Council reports. Okay. Let's see, I went to a REDA meeting on October 23rd. We heard from the Redwood Region Rise, which I feel like I finally got a slightly more understanding of what that is. But then now they're called something else and I forgot what. So that was interesting. We at least did, I think Greg Foster and I both kind of spoke up on behalf of the city of Rio Dell and the county in general, as far as infrastructure needs go. And sometimes money doesn't need to go to things you can see. Sometimes it really needs to go to the things that are under the ground. So I was happy to at least have some support in getting that out there when people are asking, where would we put money? So there was that. Let's see. That we are having an emergency preparedness fair this Saturday at the Community Resource Center. That's November 11th from 1 to 3. It is just in an effort to make anyone in the community feel like they've got a better idea of maybe what they can do in advance of a disaster, in the moment of disaster, and right following a disaster. So I will be there. Yeah, so that's gonna be good. I'm going to a school board meeting this Thursday, November 9th. Yeah, how many pages was going with me? We have a nuisance committee meeting that has been moved, am I wrong? To November 15th at 3 p.m. Yes,
Yeah.
got it. Our beautification and walkability committee is gonna meet Thursday, November 16th at 4 p.m., correct? Right. And I missed the chamber meeting, but it's probably Christmas time. So if anybody in the next few weeks on a Saturday sees the Chamber of Commerce out decorating the trees, if you want to pull over and stop and give it my hand, they will take it. And that's it for me, if you know.
Thank you. Councilmember Woodall?
She covered about everything. I didn't-
How great the chocolate tree was.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
Trunk or treat was great. The resource center did a wonderful job, and what was nice about it is there was a real community feel. There were lots of the community there, and it wasn't just going around and getting candy, they were visiting, and it was just nice.
Yes, wonderful.
And we covered all our committees, and just wanted to thank our public works for all the work they've done in this last week. They've done a good job, and I think that's it. I have one question though, and I don't know if now is the appropriate time to ask it. Coming over Painter Bridge at this end, right where you get off the bridge, the sidewalk is awful.
Yeah.
And, oh,
The
yeah,
offset,
yeah. Is that Caltrans or is that us?
So that section of sidewalk is scheduled as part of our SIP funded sidewalk improvement plan.
Yeah.
So there will also be a crosswalk added to that intersection over to Ireland Street. If we're on, you said Painter Street, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there would be a crosswalk added at that location, and that sidewalk is going to be replaced using.
Is there something we can put there now? I mean, if somebody was coming across the bridge at night is bad. You might, I don't know if there's some way we can kind of block that, so if somebody doesn't step down that.
Yeah,
In the evening.
we'll take a look at that and see what we can do.
Okay, nothing else, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson?
With the Thanksgiving weekend and the Christmas weekend, the RCEA moved their meetings. Normally the fourth Thursday, they moved it to the third Thursday of July, or November and December for those two meetings. And the HWMA is next week, but there's not a lot going on in HWMA. RCEA has got its other issue. That's all I can say over here.
Thank you. Councilmember Ward?
HCOG meeting from last night, last month. Two big topics they were covering were both related to transit. They're really pushing their chip pay now on the transit system, where as long as you use the same card with the same chip, it automatically calculates your daily, weekly, monthly rates. You don't have to buy a pass card anymore to do that. And the other one is they're doing a trial on dial-a-ride, something close to Uber and Lyft with the transit system, where if you call, they will pick you up and take you to your location. Right now, it's primarily for elderly and those in need, but they're branching it out, trying to see how it works for smaller trips.
That's it. Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna tag on to what you were just talking about, because the HTA meeting was basically, they were updating us on the projects that are in the works, but the one big thing is October 1st, the microtransit actually kicked in to gear. And so there's a Ride Humboldt app that you can get. You can sign up for the dial-a-rides. You still have to go to it's not at your door. There's bus stops that you have to go to, but then it is a more direct route. It isn't stop by stop by stop. And it's Samoa, Eureka has, I think, 2 or 3 different lines. Samoa has 1, Arcata has, I think, 2, and then it goes to McKinleyville, if my memory serves. I forgot to bring a piece of paper with me, but anyway, it started October 1st. They're really, really hoping people will get onto it. It is beta, so there's, going to be some hiccups, but they are doing their best to make it smooth. And if you get the Ride Humboldt app, then that will actually help the rider greatly and make it smoother for them. And there is a hiccup in the app, but if you just go through that first part where it's asking you to say okay to something, just say okay, and you have to do it twice. And after you get past that, it's actually a pretty smooth app. So that was HTA, and I think that's all. Yeah. Okay. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion, second?
Just, you said something about this, the 21st.
Oh, thank you, Frank. After I told you, after you told me, and I told you, I wrote it down. Okay, we will adjourn until Tuesday, November 21st at 6 p.m. And that will be our next meeting in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, 21st,
Okay.
6 p.m. Thank you, Frank. Okay, now, meeting adjourned.